All right, let's continue our journey here of learning this 12-step sales system that we have. This is going to be a little bit longer module because as we finish up the suspect phase and move into the prospect phase, before I talk about step 4, the inspection, I want to review and bring up some new subject matter that's very, very relevant to everything we've been doing in the suspect phase, this transition of moving from suspect to prospect, and where we should be at this moment in our presentation. The number one thing that you have to do in this first phase is make a connection with your homeowner. If you don't have trust and their respect, you have no chance for success in this business. Over the years, I've seen many sales reps that struggle with this question. Is it most important that the people like me, or is it most important that the people respect me? People out of the service industry, waiters and waitresses and bartenders and these kind of jobs, do very, very well more often than not in this industry because they're very personable. But every now and then, I've had a sales rep out of that service sector who has all the earmarks of success, and they struggle in this business. And the reason they do is because they're more worried about being liked than respected. Now, there's not a right or wrong to this. This is a personal decision. As you go through life, you're going to decide whether it's most important for people to like you or most important for people to respect you. If you're working in the service industry, being liked is the most important. You're trying to build a following for that restaurant. You're trying to build regulars who come back and see you. You're working for tips. So you need to be liked. In this business, where people are going to make a large money decision of whether they're going to give us $20, $30, $40, $50,000, respect is the most important thing. Here's what I mean. Most people will give you both. If they respect you, they'll also like you. That's the vast majority of people. But there is a significant number of people out there who, if you're more worried about being liked than respected, are going to like you for the wrong reasons. And those wrong reasons are they like you because they can take advantage of you. They can push you around. They can dictate terms. They can tell you what to do. They boss you around, make you feel cheap, and make you feel like you didn't do a great job. And it's just a terrible feeling. There have been plenty of people in my 30 plus years in this business who have literally told me as they're signing the paperwork, and I've heard this a couple of dozen times, you know what? I'm not sure I really like you so much, but you know why I picked you? And I'll say why. And I say, because I can tell how you're going to run this job. I can tell how you manage people around you. I can tell that you'll have my best interests in mind. I can tell that the way you handle me is the way you run your business. And that's how I want my project run. So most people will like and respect you. But in sales, the number one thing is that you be respected first. Because if you're more worried about being liked, unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there who will scratch that "we like you" button, but they're doing it for the wrong reasons. They're doing it to take advantage of you. So I want you to focus on being trusted and respected when you make this connection. When you first get into the suspect phase, you cannot bring up numbers early on. The earlier you talk about numbers to a homeowner, the scarier you are. Let me say it again. If they start telling you what their budget is, or we've only saved up, or we expect this project to be this much, or if it's over this, don't waste our time, there's no point in doing this, you need to just shelve those statements. I'll keep that in mind. I hear you. No problem. And keep going. Because if you get in a conversation about numbers too early, you are the scariest person on the earth, and you're just fulfilling every scary prophecy they have about salespeople. Don't talk about numbers early. Make a connection. Do that warm-up we talked about. Get to know these people. Really get close to them. Learn about them. The only thing to share about you is what you got in common. Learn about them and have them start to like you, but ultimately trust you and respect you. That's the quality warm-up. You have to make a connection. People ask me, what's my job, Harold? Your job's one thing and one thing only as a salesperson. You need to make them want it. When you're done doing your masterful presentation, after you've told them about the inspection and the product, and you've taken them shopping and eliminating alternatives, and you've shown them this wonderful product line we have, when you're done doing that masterful presentation, they need to want it, need it, and they got to have it. If they want it, need it, and have to have it, the close is very simple because they've decided it's something they want. And it doesn't matter how good you are at closing, if they don't want it, need it, and have to have it, it's not going to happen. That's why you need to do a masterful inspection, a great company, take them shopping and eliminate those alternatives with a little price conditioning, and then do an incredible product demo and design process for those of you in kitchens and bathrooms, so that when you're done at the end of that product demo, they want it, they need it, and they have to have it. And if you have them in that place, the close will be easy. It'll be just a passing part of the process. And if you can't get them to want it, need it, and they have to have it, I don't care how good you are at close. Even if you manage to convince them, it's just going to cancel on you the next day. That's the importance of this planned presentation and this masterful demonstration that you do. Is so that when you're done, they're like, wow, I really want that in my home. I need that in my home. I've got to have that in my home. And that takes enthusiasm and excitement. We're going to talk about that in a second. So, we're building a connection and establishing trust and respect. Our number one job is they need to want it, need it, and they have to have it. Now let's talk about the demo itself. Let me make this a little easier to focus on. There are 3 components to this masterful presentation that if you have these 3 components on it, you may not be perfect, you may stumble somewhere, you may miss a piece, you may just, that wasn't the greatest, but if you have these 3 components, you'll have every chance to make a sale, and it'll come across in an amazing way. Now, the first one I'm going to talk about is enthusiasm. I want you to think about the mess, and I don't mean when I say enthusiasm, cheerleader enthusiasm, rah, rah, go team, yay. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that simmering, bubbling enthusiasm kind of held down under a lid that you can tell somebody is really engaged, loves what they do, has real passion for it. Can you see my enthusiasm for what I do here? Can you see my enthusiasm for training and how much I enjoy what I do and how passionate I am about it? That's what I'm talking about. Because think about the message you send to someone when you're enthusiastic. You have that simmering, bubbling enthusiasm. What's the message it sends about your company? It shows that you believe in your company. You have faith. You're proud of who you represent. You couldn't be enthusiastic if you worked for some screwball that was stealing people's money and didn't do the jobs. Enthusiasm shows how serious your company is and how proud you are about it. What does enthusiasm say about how you feel about your abilities and your expertise? It shows that you're confident. You feel you have abilities. You have something to share. You know what you're talking about. You feel like a professional. And enthusiasm is contagious. When I go into a kitchen or a bathroom where I've got that window sample set right up next to their window, and they start hearing me in that product portion where we're designing or we're structuring what's going to happen to their home, and I'm like, my God, this is going to be gorgeous. Mary, can you see it? We're standing back in the bathroom, and I've got wall samples, and I'm using my iPad to show her before and afters, and she's making selections. Can you see it, Mary? Can you see the difference? And she can somewhat see it, But what she really can see is how enthusiastic. Here's this guy, came in, a real professional, told me about his company. He's not rushing things. He's taking his time. And yet when he got in my bathroom, he actually got excited and enthusiastic about how he could see what my bathroom would look like. I'm not sure I exactly understand what's going to happen, but I want whatever he's seeing. Look how happy and enthusiastic. I want that. And when you can do that with kitchens and bathrooms and windows and doors and help them visualize it, help them see it, and then they see your enthusiasm for it, that transfers. That's what sells the deal. That's what makes them want it, need it, and have to have it. Enthusiasm, you come across as sharp as a tack. I'm going to steal a little bit from Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street. This is his little saying, but he's dead on. If you convey enthusiasm, you come across as sharp as a tack. To the point. You know what you're talking about. You come across as enthusiastic as hell. Hand in hand. That's that bubbling down enthusiasm where you're proud of your company, proud of what you do, obviously love what you do for a living. And you'll come across as an expert in your field. You're obviously confident. And if you're not quite an expert yet, fake it until you make it and start watching YouTube videos about cabinets or refacing or bathroom shower installs or window installs, and you can get a construction education and never pick up a hammer. I mean, I'm a fairly good carpenter. I've gotten my hands dirty in years past on job sites, but you don't have to learn it that way. YouTube is an amazing resource. I call it YouTube University. Enthusiasm makes you sharp as a tack. You're going to be enthusiastic as hell and an expert in your field. It conveys. And as I'm going through the demo, I start slipping the leash a little bit more and a little bit more on my enthusiasm. I don't want it to explode. I'm not trying to be a cheerleader, but they can just see me getting a little more excited as we get closer to the product and the difference it's going to make in their home and how great it's going to look. Oh, it's an amazing thing that they see. The second of these three critical components to a great presentation is time investment. I cannot emphasize to you enough how important the time in the house. If you go out on appointments and you think you're going to put a price in front of somebody in an hour and 15 minutes or an hour and a half and you think you're going to make very many sales, you are kidding yourself. You are asking somebody to make $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 decision the same day you're there. How fast would you make the decision to spend $30,000 with a complete stranger that you just met today? How fast would you make that decision? And if you felt rushed at all, even if you wanted to rush, but you felt like, yeah, we kind of moved through this kind of quick. Well, I need to think about it. I'm going to have to absorb this information you gave me. Because if you rush through it, they didn't get a chance to process it in the moment. So you might have covered it, but they didn't get it. And you're not going to sell. You know what the number one objection you're going to hear in this business is? Number one, overall, more than any other. We need to think about it. You know what the number two objection you're going to hear? Overall, over and over. We need to get other quotes or other prices or talk to other people. Getting other estimates. Those are your number one and number two, have been for decades. You want to know the single greatest way to eliminate we need to think about it? Won't kill it completely. You're always going to hear it some, but you will dramatically reduce the number of times you hear we need to think about it the longer you stay in the home. Because if you've been there longer and taken your time and they've processed it, they're going to go, subconsciously, what happens in their head is, okay, all right, well, I've got all the information. We've been here for 3.5 hours. I think I can pretty much decide one way or the other. But if you've been there an hour and 20 minutes, they're going to be like, well, that was a lot of information you covered. My goodness, I'm going to have to think about that. $30,000. I'm going to have to run that one through my head a couple of times. Give me a few days. How many people you know are going to make a $30,000 buying decision with a stranger they just met today in an hour and 15 minutes? Come on. Here's your timestamps. You can never get a price out of me in less than 90 minutes. I want it to be longer, but nothing that homeowner says or does will get a price out of me in less than 90 minutes. Not going to happen. I would rather have a broken demo and leave than to give a price in less than 90 minutes and then feel cheap, used, and worthless when I don't make a sale. If I have somebody, this is how strongly I feel about it. If I have somebody pushing me, I don't need to hear all that. Just give me the numbers. I don't need to hear all that. Just give me the numbers. I'll go on with that for a little bit. I'll earn about 30, 40 minutes in the house because I can't do what I'm about to do 5 minutes in. And then at 30 or 40 minutes, I'm going to go, hold on. Time out. Time out. And I'm going to say it just like this. Time out. Listen, I completely respect the fact that I'm in your home. This is your home. But why are you being so rude to me? I made a special trip out here to see you. We're overbooked. There are people I didn't see today so I could come see you. I could have seen other people. Now, I'm more than happy to share this information, and you do whatever works for you one way or the other. But why are you being rude? Now, one of two things happens when I do that. And I don't have to do it very often at all. Maybe a couple of times a year, once every 6 months. If it happens to you more than that, you're doing something wrong. You're not making a connection. But you know what one of the two things happens when I have to do that with someone? One, they kick me out of the house. And I don't care because they weren't going to buy anyway. Remember, 5 out of 10 will never buy from you. The other 5 out of 10 will buy under the right conditions. And I'm about to create a condition. So they'll either kick me out of the house and they're one of the 5 that won't buy. And it's over. And I don't feel cheap and I don't feel used. And I go on about my day and I didn't waste my time. They weren't going to buy. But you know what happens a lot of times? They apologize. You know, you're right, Harold. I've had a bad day. I shouldn't take it out on you. Let's start over. You're absolutely right. I don't need to be rude. And the ones that apologize and shift gears buy every time. You'll sell those every single time. So that when I told you 5 out of 10 never buy and 5 buy under the right conditions, you run into that. That's how you create the right condition. And either it's a not buy or it's a buy every time. And that's how you get there with that kind of person. And it should only happen twice a year. If it happens more often than that, you're not making a connection and the problem's on your end, not the people you're seeing. So no, can't get a price in less than 90 minutes. The golden window to price presentation is 2 to 2.5 hours. When I lay that first price down in front of somebody's nose, if I'm longer, that's fine. You got a retired couple in their 70s. They're kind of taking their time, a little slow to process, just want to make sure they get it right. That's fine. I've put a price in front of somebody in 3.5 hours just because, or maybe it's a big project. I'm doing a big kitchen or a big custom bathroom or a double wet area or a house with 40 plus windows and doors on it. I'm going to put a $50, $60, $80,000 figure in front of somebody. Yeah, I'm going to make a price presentation at 4 hours sometimes but on average, with the typical lead, with the average sale we have of about 25 to 30 grand, where you're presenting the 1 year at $30,000 to $35,000, I want to be at 2 to 2.5 hours as I lay that figure in front of them. That's where I want to be. I'm golden if I'm there. If I'm shorter than that, I'm not as in good a shape as I should be. If I'm longer, it's okay. And the more custom and the bigger the dollars, it should be longer. I've laid price presentation on $60,000 and $80,000 projects in front of somebody at 4 hours. Took 30, 35 minutes to close them. Then we got paperwork. And I spent over 5 hours in the house, but made a $75,000 sale. They go hand in hand. And this one right here, this is a check mark for you. As you finish up the inspection right here, as you finish that step, learn to glance at your watch. In my demo, I should be sitting at 1 hour to 1 hour and 15 minutes every time. And time investment is so important that if I'm sitting at 45 minutes as I finish the inspection, I'll go back to the table, ask for a glass of water or a cup of coffee, and make 10 more minutes of small talk to get to the hour before I start my company story. Because if I'm not at 1 hour, I probably don't have quite the connection I should have. And I can probably get another 10, 15 minutes of warm up because now they're feeling progress being made and they'll make a little more small talk before I go to the next step. I look at my watch at the end of the inspection and I want to be sitting at an hour to an hour and 15. If I'm over, that's fine. Again, large custom project, lots of questions, multiple people involved, but I'm not going to be less than that ever. And 90 minutes minimum to price. And then the last thing I want to talk about is questions, and I will point this out a lot as we get into the next steps of company and price conditioning, eliminating alternatives, and product. But you cannot preach at people. Telling is not selling. I'm going to say it again. Telling things to people is not selling. You cannot sit there and just preach at them nonstop and not get any feedback from them. So there are two things you need to learn to do. The first thing is you need to learn tie-down questions. Tie-down questions are how you can turn a statement into a question, keep them involved, and get their feedback. Wouldn't it? Couldn't it? Shouldn't it? Might it? It's really important that a contractor have the correct insurance, isn't it? You would want a product with a great warranty, wouldn't you? And so you don't sound like a parrot or a robot. You can take the tie-down words and put them in the front. Wouldn't you like a great warranty? Shouldn't a contractor have the correct insurance? So you can put it at the front or the back, but it turns a statement into a question that keeps involvement. By asking people questions throughout the demo, it means that they don't nod off on you. They don't glaze over. You keep their attention and they keep absorbing the information. Remember, the number one responsibility we have is not to say the info, it's to communicate the information to them so they get it. And questions help that to happen. And then the next thing with questions is you got to use open-ended questions. I'm going to give you a short example. When we talk about our crews and the company story, you could do it this way. Now, John and Mary, let me tell you about the people that are going to be in your home. You know, I'll be here a couple hours, but the folks actually doing the work are going to be here for a couple of days around your children, in your home, all day long, 8-10 hours each day doing work here. Now, I just want you to know that we background check those people. We know who they are. We drug screen them before they can't come. And we also pay them not just for doing the job, but based on the review that you give us about the quality of their work. That affects their pay in a big way. Now, that's a very interesting little bit of information, but I just preached it. And that's not the best way to communicate to the person to get them to get it or to absorb it. This is how you do it with questions. There's one little example, and I do this throughout the demo. With every fact that I'm trying to get across, I make the exact same point I would with a statement, but I do it with a question. Here's how I do it. Now, John and Mary, I'm going to be here a couple of hours, but the crew that's here doing the work, they're going to be at your home for a couple of days, 8-10 hours a day around your children, in your house. How important is it to you to know that before they step one foot on your property, we did a background check on it and we know who that person is? How important is that to you? And I let them think about it and answer the question. And then I go, how about the fact before they even come into your home or get around your children, they had to pass a drug screening in order to get a job from us? Every single person on a job site. How important is that to you? And I let them answer. How about the fact that we don't just pay them for doing the work, but when they're done, we're going to have you do a review of how well they did, and that review significantly impacts how they get paid. You think they might do a better job for that reason? You think they might wear the booties on their feet or lay the parchment paper down so they don't get dirt everywhere? You think they might, as they demo things and create trash and debris, immediately take it out to the truck or the trailer? not lay it in the yard on a tarp next to the sidewalk or pile it up in the den on a tarp. We'll get it later. Hang plastic so dust doesn't get all over the house. Because if it affects their pay, they want to do it the right way. And those are the differences in how they do it. It makes a difference, doesn't it, John and Mary? See, by asking questions, it really pulls them in on those points. It really helps them comprehend and get value to what I just explained. Questions, time investment, and enthusiasm. If you can bring that to the table, you're 75% of the way there. Now, with that being said, let's talk about the inspection itself. So, the inspection step has 3 parts to it. Inspect the project, learn the dream, don't steal it, describe the install. And then at the end, you got to get a commitment. So, inspect the project. If you're doing windows or doors, I want you to go with the homeowners to every window and door on the house. Pull the drapes back, open up the blinds, see if you can raise the window. Is the sash loose? Is the glazing popped off of the glass? If it's a wood window, is it all bleached blonde from the sun and condensation getting over the years and the varnish color's gone? Open the window. Is it stiff and hard to open? Is there wood rot outside? Is the outside maintained, or is the paint chipping? Is it an aluminum storm? God, people hate aluminum storm windows. Try and open one of those. It'll all be stiff because it's oxidized. Maybe it's missing the panels or the screen's ripped. Inspect the window, each and every one. And on all these inspections, I want you to use red painter's tape. I'll give it to you when you come up here in your second week of training. On a window demo, after I inspect whether it's loose and the inside of the window, if there are any conditions, I put a red X in the top left corner. And then if it's hard to operate or the storm window is hard to operate, I put an X in the top right corner. And then if there's anything rotted on the outside or damaged, I put an X in the bottom right corner. And if there's anything broken or wood rot, I put an X in the bottom left corner. Take a moisture meter. Check the wall under the window. See if there's moisture in the wall. Do you know the reaction you'll get from a homeowner if you find 12, 15, 18% moisture underneath the window in a particular wall? It's there 24/7 in the insulation, which is now damp, not going anywhere because it can't dry out because it's sealed up in the sheetrock and the exterior sheathing, sitting on top of their sill plate, which makes up the structure of their floor joists. Home run. So you're going to inspect every window. You're going to inspect every door for those issues. If you're in kitchens, open up every drawer all the way out. Does it drop because the runner's broken? And as it comes out a certain way, the weight of what's in the drawer makes it fall down because the runners come loose inside? Or is it stiff or loud or hard to open? Are the doors clacking when they shut or don't close all the way? Or they don't have soft close hinges so you can slam them shut? Are the pots and pans in disarray? Is the area underneath the sink rotten because at some point they had a drip or a leak so that board's rotted? Are the sides of the cabinet next to the stove and the oven sticky from all the cooking and now the varnish is broke down? It's not dirt. That's the varnish breaking down due to moisture and heat. And you can't, it's not that they don't keep it clean. It's that it's changed due to the heat and the steam. Is it sticky there? Inspect everything about the kitchen. If you're doing bathrooms, you start at the top. Grab that shower head and shake it. Put a red X by it if it's loose in the wall. Are the faucet controls loose? Put a red X. If it's got plastic, are the seams, the caulking come off? Put a red paint line. If it's tile, is it cracked or does it have mold and mildew coming? Do not talk about your product in the inspection. Don't say, Oh, folks, your shower head's loose here in the wall. After you see this stone composite wall we put up, that'll never happen. No, we're seeding and layering, which means I'll show them it's loose now, and in the product, when I hand them that stone wall and drop it in their hands, I go, that shower head won't shake in that ever, will it? No, it sure won't. But when I'm in the inspection, I can talk about that shower head moving and how now that it moves, every time they turn the water on, that hydraulic pressure of the water rushes through the pipe, and because it's loose, jerks that pipe, and they have a chance of creating a pinhole leak every time they turn the water on because the pipes are vibrating now that the shower head's loose. That's how pinhole leaks develop in plumbing, is the pipes develop movement over time, and then they vibrate due to the water pressure, the hydraulic pressure when the water runs through them, and they vibrate and shake, and the joints where the seams are finally fatigue and give, and you get leaks. That's how it happens. So we're going to do inspect the project with the red tape. If you're doing roofing, I want you to literally have a moisture meter and a flashlight and start in the bottom of the basement. Go to where the furnace exhaust goes and your pipes go, and look around there and look for moisture in the walls. Is it leaking down around the chimney? And then you go up on the first floor and you look in every closet and along the wall on the perimeter and by the chimney. And just find yourself one water stain in a closet or in a corner with that flashlight that they weren't aware of, and put the moisture meter on the wall by it and have it show some moisture. Oh my goodness, what a home run. And I go to the second floor, and then if I can get into the attic, hopefully they got pull down steps, I'm going to go up in the attic with my flashlight, and if they don't come with me with my camera, my phone, or my iPad, and I'm looking for dark discolored wood. It should be all golden colored. If it's not golden colored and it's all dark or brown, that means water's gotten in it and changed that wood at some point. Heaven forbid I find mold or mildew, which means you have an active moisture situation going on. And I'm taking pictures of it, so I have it to use later on in the demonstration when I show what my product will eliminate happening. But I don't talk about product at all during the inspection. The only measurements I will take during the inspection is for the sake of me if I need to know how to structure what I'm going to present to them in the product. Like in bathrooms, is it a standard pan or is it a custom that I'm going to have to do? Is it an odd shape? Or in windows, do they want to change 3 double hungs to a 2-light slider or a 3-light slider? You know, I might have a tape to measure those. But there's a place for measuring for price purposes, and I'm not going to do it in the inspection. Because if you measure well enough to do pricing in the inspection, some homeowners will now start pushing you to give them a price, because they know you got the measurements. If I don't measure for pricing here, I can look out and go, well, I haven't done the measurements for pricing yet. Let's talk about what you want to do, and then I'll be glad to do that. So I'm only throwing a tape on something if I need to know something how to demo my product. All I'm doing in the inspection is inspecting. The next thing, learn the dream, but don't steal it. Find out what's going through their head. Do they have a perfectly reasonable idea of what this project should be? Or do they have some convoluted dream that they saw on Do It Yourself or Flip or Flop or Property Brothers that absolutely isn't going to happen? They don't have the space for it, or it wouldn't work in their home. I can't tell you how many people go, I want to take the toilet and move it from here to the other side of the room. Not understanding that the toilet has the only 4-inch drain of anything in the bathroom. And in order to move it from one side of the bathroom to the other, I'm going to have to pull the toilet, pull all the flooring and subfloor up, cut the floor joist to run the 4-inch pipe across there to move it, and then put all that back and get a structural engineer to sign off on cutting floor joists in an existing structure. They're going to spend, what, 8, 10, 12 grand to move a toilet 8 feet? And half of that's going to be the engineer's paperwork. And I can't say that number in the inspection because I'd be scary talking about a number too soon, wouldn't I? No. I'm just going to learn that they're thinking about moving the toilet across there. Oh, what will that do for you? Why do you want to do that? Okay, we'll talk about that. And then I would do my company story, my price conditioning, my product demo, and my pre-close. And now that I've been with them 2 hours, because we only deal with objections if they affect the next 10 minutes. And moving the toilet across the room does not affect my company story. It doesn't affect how I'm going to price condition and talk about eliminate alternatives. And it doesn't affect my product demo. But moving the toilet does affect my ability to put the price together. So after pre-close, I'd then have to deal with it because now it affects the next 10 minutes. And I take them in the bathroom and we talk about the expense of moving this toilet, and I have a better suggestion. And now they're perceiving me as more of an expert because I've been with them longer, time investment again, so that they're having more and more faith in me, trust and respect the longer I'm there. And now they're going to listen to me. Whereas if I try and talk numbers here, I haven't even talked about my company. I haven't even shown them a product, and I haven't been there that long. I'm still a suspect in most cases, and I just sound like a self-serving salesperson doesn't want to do it, so I'm trying to talk them out of it. But if I wait to all the way down here, now I'm a trusted and respected expert who's trying to show them this is a sorry way to spend your money. I got a better idea. Why don't we do it this way instead? And they're like, okay, appreciate your input, Harold. That makes a lot of sense. So I don't steal the dream here. I just learn it. And if it's some weird nonsense, I file it away to deal with later. I don't deal with it now and steal the dream. I've been out on reps in bathrooms, and you can do the floor in the bathroom if you need to. It's not something that's that unusual to do when you're changing out these wet spaces. And so the homeowner, the sales rep asks him, what do you want to do for the flooring? I want to do a beautiful tile. And the sales rep looks at him and goes, oh, well, we don't do tile. You know what the homeowner says? Well, if you don't do tile, I want to get it all from one person. Because you don't have any value to them. They don't know your company. They don't know the product. You're just a person that's telling them what you can't do. But if you go all the way through the company, wow, we love the company. You eliminate alternatives. Yeah, I don't want that other junk. And you do the product and you're like, man, that's absolutely beautiful. That's what I want in my home. And then at that point, before you put the price together, you go, let's talk. Well, you mentioned tile. Here's my flooring samples. I don't really like those. Why don't you just get a flooring company to do your tile then? I will. I still want your shower. See, you can't steal the dream now in the inspection. They don't know enough about you. They'll just send you packing. But if you wait, if the dream's not a good one, if it needs to be fixed, if you wait to fix it later on, then you're a trusted expert who they respect and they'll understand and listen to you. And then the last thing is I want you to describe the install. If it's at windows, you can describe how we do the wood inspection, how we insulate around the frame of the window, how we wrap the exterior wood maintenance free, and then we seal that up. You know, we don't change the trim on the inside. If it's kitchens, it's going to be a very brief period of time. Our guys are here from start to finish. You're not losing your kitchens weeks at a time. If it's refacing, you can still cook breakfast and dinner. They'll be here working during the day, but you don't lose your kitchen for the morning or evening meals. You know, you don't have to move all your appliances out into the garage. If it's bathrooms, we're going to do it in 1 to 2 days. We take everything down to the studs. We change all the plumbing lines. We change the valve set. Plumbing lines back to the hot and cold water supply. You'll hear more about that as you get into the presentation. There are going to be other videos where we actually do an actual product demo and an actual company story rather than these overviews. And I'll go into greater detail on each product line's installation on those. But you explain the install because you're in front of them in the bathroom, or you're standing in the kitchen, or you're standing in front of a window. So, and we're going to want to explain the installation several times. People don't get it the first time you say it. You got to say it a second, third, and fourth time. I'm going to describe the installation here. I'm going to describe the installation again in the company story. I'm going to describe the installation again in the product demo. And I'm going to describe the installation again when I present the price. They're going to hear the installation description at least 5 times from me, maybe even a 6th or 7th in the close if I need to help build value, because they won't get it if you just say it once. So I'm going to describe the installation. And then you need a commitment. Here's another word track. I'll say it a couple of times. You're standing in the bathroom, or you're standing in the kitchen, you're standing in front of the window, and you simply look at the homeowner and go, John and Mary, after looking at your shower, can we agree, whether you do it with us or one of our fine competitors, you need to get this taken care of? Wouldn't you agree? Now, that's a strong commitment. They're saying they need to get this taken care of. And if you don't put the part about us or a fine competitor in, then they're going to feel pressure. Whoa, I don't know that we're going to do this right away. You'll feel pressure, trigger fight or flight, and you'll scare them. But we can say whether you do it with us or our fine competitors because I haven't done the company story yet. They don't know us, so I can say it now because the next thing I'm going to do is the company story, and then they're going to give me a commitment that Remodel USA or it's the company I want in my home. So, again, the commitment. John and Mary, let me ask you, after looking at your windows, whether you do the windows with us or one of our fine competitors, can we at least agree they need to get done? John and Mary, after taking a look at your doors, whether you get doors from us or from one of our fine competitors, do we all agree that the doors need to be done? John and Mary, after looking at your kitchen, whether you do your kitchen project with us or one of our fine competitors, can we agree the kitchen is something that you need to take care of? That's a strong, strong commitment. They're agreeing that they need to do this project. And because you say whether you do it with us or one of our fine competitors, they're not going to feel pressure. You're not going to trigger fight or flight. It's very easy for them to go, yeah, we do need to get it done. Whoever we do it with, we do need to get it done. That's the only commitment I need here, because I'm going to get my company commitment coming up next. John and Mary, after looking at your bathroom, kitchen, windows, doors, roof, whether you do the project with us or one of our fine competitors, can we at least agree it's something you need to take care of? That's the commitment at the end of the inspection. Hit that subscribe button so you can get all my videos. Hit a like, leave me comments. Love to hear what you got to say. Thank you.